this video, I want to talk about maps in Go. So let's open up our IDE. I'm going to be using GoLang for this project. I've already created my project folder. It's called Maps in Go. I have my main.go file, and then I've already created my package main and my func main. So this is going to be an executable program, and we're just going to print out some information down here in the terminal. So what are maps? Maps are key value pairs. We can map a key to any value. Maybe we want our key to be a restaurant and the value to be a rating of 1 to 10, 10 being our favorite and 0 being our least favorite. Let's take a look. In a previous video, we learned about the built-in make function, and we used the built-in make function to make slices. In this video, we're going to use the built-in make function to create a map. So I'm going to use M, and we'll do the short assignment operator, and we're going to use our make function. To make a map, we can define it as map, use our square brackets, and what do we want our key to be for our map? What type of identifier? Is our key going to be a word? Is it going to be an integer? For my example, I'm going to use a word. So I want a list of restaurants. I want the name of the restaurant to be the key, and I want the value to be an integer, and it's going to be a rating of 0 to 10. For my map key, I'm going to use string. And then for my key value, my value is going to be an integer. So I'm going to say int. So let's go ahead and create our first key value pair. I'm going to use M because we defined our variable as M. Then we'll use the square brackets. And we said our keys are going to be a string. That's what we defined right here. So I'm going to use the double quotes. And for my first key in my key value pairs, I'm going to use McDonald's. So we'll do McDonald's. And I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's, so if 0 is the worst, 10 is the best, I'm going to give McDonald's a 4. Now let's go ahead and print out this key value. We'll use the fmt println. Notice my IDE automatically imported the fmt package for me. If your IDE didn't do that, make sure you import the fmt package. And for this, I just want to print M. By saying M, I'm saying print all of the key values under the variable M. So we'll come down here and let's do go run main.go. And we can see we have a map, the key is McDonald's, and the value is set to 4. Now it's important to understand we can have more than one map. So if I wanted to, I could create another map and call it K. We'll use a short assignment operator. We'll use the built-in make function. It's going to be a map, and for this map, I'm going to use an integer and an integer. So we're not using our K right now, so it's giving me the little squiggly, but let's go ahead and create a key value pair for our K map. So we'll do K, we'll provide our square brackets. For this, I'm just going to say it's an integer of 2, and I'm going to set it to an integer of 4. So now we've just created a new map. This map takes a key value. The key is an integer and the value is an integer. Let's go ahead and print that as well. So we have our M map and our K map. So we have two different maps, and we can use both of these maps as many times as we want. So if we wanted to do more restaurants, we could say M, provide the square brackets. Our restaurants are going to take a key that's a string. So let's provide another name of a restaurant. I'm going to use Chick-fil-A. And I like Chick-fil-A. I think they're pretty good, so I'm going to give them a 9. Now let's print this out again. We're saying fmt println, print all of the M variable maps and print all of the K variable maps. So let's print this out. And now we have a map. We have Chick-fil-A with a 9, McDonald's with a 4. And we also have our K map, which takes a key that's an integer and a value that's also an integer, and we provided 2 and 4. So I just wanted to show you that you can have more than one map of key valued pairs. For the M variable, we're saying all of the M variables are going to be a key value pair where the key is a string and the value is an integer. The K map is going to store a key that's an integer and a value that's an integer. And you can mix and match these any way you want. Maybe you want a string in an integer. Maybe you want a string in a Boolean. You can set these key values up whichever way suits your program the best. So we can see a map takes a key and a value. Let's try something a little more advanced. Let me get rid of this. I want to create a structure of restaurant details and then map a string or the restaurant name to the restaurant details. So let's go ahead and we'll create our struct. So for this, we'll use type, and I'm going to call it details, and this is going to be a struct. Now let's go ahead and provide some details. For my details, I want to store my rating. So my rating of 0 through 10, 0 being my least favorite, 10 being my most favorite of restaurants. And let's do locations, and this will be approximately how many locations does this restaurant have in the United States. So for both of these, we'll use type int, and then let's go ahead and store another data type. Let's see if I want to store whether each restaurant has a drive-through and whether or not they have table service. So if they have like a waiter or a waitress that'll bring your food out to your table or maybe take your order at the table. So we'll do table service, and these will both be of type bool. So these will store a true or a false. Now this is going to look just like before. So we're going to do m, we'll use a short assignment operator, and then the make function. And we want to create a map. And for our key, we want it to store a string. So we'll say string, and then the value is going to be this detail struct. So let's provide it the detail struct. Now let's go ahead and use this new map that we created. So we'll do m, our square brackets, and let's do McDonald's again. So McDonald's, and we're going to set it equal to our detail struct. And let's go ahead and provide it some values. So I said originally, I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's, so I'm going to give it a value or a rating of 4. I think McDonald's has about 15,000 locations in the United States. So we'll set the locations to 15,000. Now for a drive-through, where I live, McDonald's have drive-throughs. So we'll set the drive-through to true. Also where I live, they don't really have table service. They're not going to come over to your table and ask you what you want for dinner. So let's set this to false. Cool. Now let's go ahead and add a couple other restaurants. So we're going to use our variable m. We'll do our square brackets. For our second restaurant, I'm going to use Cracker Barrel. And we'll go ahead and say that we're going to use the detail struct. And for Cracker Barrel, I'm going to give it a rating of 8 because I really like Cracker Barrel. I think they have about 700 locations. And where I live, Cracker Barrel does not have a drive-through. So I'm going to set drive-through to false. But they do have table service. So I'm going to say for table service, we'll set that to true. And then let's go ahead and add one more. We'll use our m for our m variable, our square brackets, our restaurant name. Let's use Chick-fil-A. And we'll set it equal to the details struct. And let's provide it some details. Now, I like Chick-fil-A, so I'm going to give them a rating of 9. I think they have about 2,700 locations in the United States. That's just a guess, I really don't know. I know Chick-fil-A has a drive-through where I live, so I'm going to set the drive-through value to true. And where I live, a lot of times you'll order at the counter, but they'll bring your food out to your table after it's made. So I'm going to set the table service to true. So right now I have my detail struct, and I'm saying my detail struct is going to store a rating and the number of locations, both of type int. And I'm also storing drive-through and table service of type bool, so true or false. I said I'm going to create a variable of m, and I'm using the make function to create a map where the key is a string and the value is set to the detail struct. I'm just going to add a space right here to be consistent. And now I'm creating 3 key value pairs. So my first key is going to be McDonald's. My second key is Cracker Barrel. My third key is Chick-fil-A. And then I'm setting them equal to their details. So let's go ahead and print out m and see what it looks like. I'm going to use fmt println, and let's just print m. We'll jump down to our terminal and we'll use go run main.go. Okay, so we see we have a map, we have our key, Chick-fil-A, a colon, and then our curly braces with our details inside. And we have Chick-fil-A, Cracker Barrel, and McDonald's, and each of them have their represented values. Let's go ahead and let's just print Cracker Barrel. So if we want to do that, we would define, we want to print the M variable, but we have to tell it what key we want it to print. So for this, we're just going to use Cracker Barrel. And this time we're saying only print this. So let's run this again. Now this time it gave us 8, 700, false, and true, which is our rating of 8, locations of 700, drive-through false, and then table service true. What if we only wanted the rating? If we only wanted the rating, we could do the same exact thing. So M for our variable M, we use our square brackets, and we provide our key inside of double quotes. And now we want, let's just do the rating. If we only wanted to get the rating and not all of Cracker Barrel values, we could provide a period and then just say, give us the rating. Let's try this. Cool. So if for some reason we knew the key and we knew that key contained multiple values within it and we wanted to dive in and say, just give me the rating, we can provide our variable, we can provide our key, in this instance it's a string of Cracker Barrel, and then we use the dot and then whatever value we want. We said we wanted the rating, it gave us the rating. Let's try and go for locations, and we'll print this out again, and we got our locations. I think this is a good stopping point for maps and key value pairs. We went through a few examples. If you want to go ahead and get your hands dirty, try creating some of your own structs and then maybe create a few different types of maps and apply your keys and values and print out some data onto the screen like we did. I'll be posting more videos about Go, so if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you get notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.